I'm Dr. Nadu, a pediatric respirologist, and from my findings, children who are exposed to smog and air pollution are more likely to develop asthma than children in clean air environments. An example of this is that I have patients in both Fresno and Palo Alto. Fresno has the highest levels of particle pollution in America, and children there are more likely to develop asthma than children who live in Palo Alto, where the air is fairly clean. I believe that we should highly reduce air pollution everywhere, but not only in populated areas, because pollutants can travel with wind. Climate change is a very serious issue that we have to act on fast. And it also has a big influence on people's health, not just their respiratory health. Another result of climate change is acid rain. Acid rain is any form of rain that is more acidic than normal, with a pH lower than 5.6. The fumes combined with moisture in the atmosphere form acid rain. My perspective is that if the same pollutants such as nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide that lead to acid rain also cause air pollution that is harmful to lungs, we should abolish the sources of these pollutants. My perspective is different from the other stakeholders because my main focus is how pollution affects people and their health. I think that if many people's health is at risk, then we need to do what is best for our population and stop climate change and air pollution.
Hello, I am the U.S. Trade Representative, and my job is to regulate external trade and promote economic growth, done by conducting trade negotiations and recommending trade policies to the President. Without the strong economy of America, my job is bound to crumble. However, this is no excuse to slack off in terms of the potential environmental damage that industries that support the economy end up causing. The United States has federal emission standards for vehicles and engines, as well as GHG emissions. These are made by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. The Trans-Pacific Partnership is currently in the works with 11 other nations working to minimize climate change as well. Though it has been yet to be executed, if you're worried about climate change, I am on your side. I agree that acid rain is an important part of climate change to focus on, and it has the potential to damage American soil by decreasing the pH. It reduces the population of many animals and plants, as plants are commonly consumed for food. Freshwater lakes and streams become more acidic, and animals are poisoned. I assure you, we are working our part, all while ensuring we have the strong economy America has.
Hey, my name is Jane, and I am a grade 10 Chicago student who is deeply concerned about the state of our planet. I feel passionately about the effects and conditions caused by acid rain and its products. Non-metal oxides that are pollutants, specifically nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide, do not stay in the place they are produced. These are the main chemicals in air pollution, and when the pollution is let out of the factories and into the air, the wind carries it away, often making the chemicals travel long distances and then forming acid rain, fine nitrates, fine sulfates in another country or continent. This, however, is not all that these pollutants do. These gases form particulates known as fine nitrates and fine sulfates in the atmosphere. These particles can then be inhaled into the respiratory system and have harmful effects on the lungs. Elevated levels of these fine particles in the air have been linked to respiratory diseases like bronchitis and asthma, which I have. Me having asthma is another reason for why I'm so invested in this global issue. We need to find a way to lessen our environmental destruction, even if it means having lower profits for an amount of time, because as Dr. Nadu said, people are being affected as a repercussion of our negligence.
Hi, my name is Antonio, and I am one of the many owners of factories in Ramos Arizpe, Mexico, that produce automobiles to export to the U.S. Mexico has over 53 million people who are living in poverty, and my factory employs 390 people alone. Alongside my factory, there are 300 other factories that employ over 200,000 Mexicans. If strict regulations are put on my factory and others in the area, I will either have to fire workers or they will get significantly fewer shifts that are also shorter. For the sake of the 53 million people already living in poverty in Mexico alone, and in order not to increase this number, we need to keep these factories running. For the sake of the 53 million people living in poverty in Mexico, And in order to not increase this number, we need to keep these factories running, as they employ over 830,000 Mexicans. If these factories are shut down, Mexico's poverty rate will increase.
Now that we have heard everyone's views, we shall have a meeting. We will determine the solution. Together, we have worked to create a solution. To start, slow progression is key, which is why I've decided to implement stricter environmental regulations. This will act similarly to the carbon tax, putting pressure on these 3 countries to limit their use and extend to clean, renewable energy. However, the tax would be moderate to avoid any economic crashes. Everyone is responsible to remedy the effects of climate change, and the American government is playing its part. Thank you, and God bless America.
I agree with the minister. The government should do its part to implement renewable energy instead of burning fossil fuels. According to the World Health Organization, 9 out of 10 people and 90% of the world's children breathe polluted air. We need big changes such as environmentally friendly trade agreements, again, like the minister said, to bring the amount of people breathing polluted air down. Without air pollution, rates of asthma and other respiratory conditions will decrease. I also agree with Antonio. Jobs should not be lost. As an alternative, though, these factories should use cleaner and renewable materials instead of burning fossil fuels.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, during the time period of 2001 to 2011, the number of Americans with asthma grew 28%. The effects of acid rain creates another chemical reaction harmful to humans. This is the reaction of nitrous oxide with organic compounds, which leads to the production of ground-level ozone. Ground-level ozone causes health problems like emphysema and lung inflammation.
Our idea involves the government's power over big companies that manage and have authority over owners of single factories. The government should have companies like General Motors take account for their actions and set higher standards for wages. Although my factory supplies jobs, I cannot afford to pay my employees a good hourly wage. On average, auto workers are paid only $4 an hour. If this number were to be raised to Canadian standards or American standards, shifts could be cut because there is no demand for more hours to earn more if they're already earning 3 times their salary. In order for the government to raise minimum wage, we came up with the idea to hold a protest.